Right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to April. We've suddenly got to April, haven't we? And our cafe. I'm Jenny. For those of you that don't know me, many of you do know me, and many of you I have actually tried to see in person recently, which is great. Anyway, this morning we're talking about all things electric vehicle. So if you could please just mute at the beginning. It'd be nice to see you on the cameras, if you want to put your cameras on for later on. Again, for those of you new, then use the chat box. It's your friend. Okay, just introduce yourself, say where you are, but we always talk about the weather because it's what we do in Britain, isn't it? But if you could also share the first part of your postcode, because it then just gives us a bit of an idea of where everybody is located and helps us with funding opportunities. And also use the opportunity to share ideas and help each other out. And I think you'll find what Piotr's got to say very interesting. So for those of you that have started recently coming along to cafes, you might not be so familiar with my ramblings when I say, how does SRITC work and what does it mean to people? And more recently, I've actually been picking on people to ask them what SRITC means to them. So today, because he's here, I'm going to ask Michael Wilmot. Michael, I'm putting you on the spot here, but what does SRITC mean to you?
Well, of course, I recognise it's abbreviation for Scottish Rural and Island Transport Community. What it means to me, I think, is a very useful forum for discussing issues which are peculiar to rural settings. And as you know, I think, Jenny, one of my roles is Secretary of the Far North Line Community Rail Partnership, where we have a particular interest in integrated transport, integrated public transport, because it is so scarce up there. And indeed, we do get funding from the Foundation for Integrated Transport in order to try and promote a better collaboration of all the different transport opportunities there are in that area.
Fab. Thank you. I'm going to pick on somebody else who's done one or two cafes and has my favourite fish and chip shop. So Peter, what does it mean to you?
It's nice to see a lot of local people or from this area, find out what they're up to, and especially I can see Simon there, who's probably as far north as he can get. We also attend another local transport forum, which is quite interesting. We'll probably give you some insight on that, but it's good to get everybody's views, especially now in relation to electric vehicles, which is going to be relevant, or very relevant for both me and for Simon as well today, I think.
Great. Thank you both very much. And you'll see if you've got your videos on that some of our advisory board are here. And Michael forgot to say that he is on our advisory board. So he is slightly biased as well. So aside from running the cafes, we do various online gatherings and in-person gatherings, which I'll come back to. We've also been involved, and this is Piotr's here today, to talk about a project that we were involved with him doing some stakeholder engagement and running some workshops. We've also got some work carrying on at the moment to do with social value, which we will discuss at another time. And we are also going to be helping the European Rural Parliament with their transportation plan and strategy. So a lot going on. So as I say, you might recognise some of these people here. So Sheila and Aaron is one of our Musketeers helpers. I've also spotted that we've got Rabina here, who is on our advisory board. And Rabina, your picture's not on my, oh yes you are, you're being hidden by all the people down the side. So these are the people behind the scenes, and Alex is here, and we've got Iriana, and we've got Nikki from the team as well. So just a bit of news from me. I'm going to ask, and I can't see you all at the same time, but hands up, or just a virtual hands up or a real hand, and keep it up. Who read the news bulletin this week? I see one hand come up, two hands, maybe a few hands. Anyway, within that, I did say that we're postponing the online gathering. I put a pause on that. Ewan's put his hand up, great. We put a pause on that. I basically have no Superwoman cape at the moment. People ask me how I juggle so many things, and my Superwoman cape has been away getting washed for quite a while, but now it needs seriously repaired. So until it's back from the repair shop, and that's not on the BBC, back from the repair shop, there will be a pause on the online gathering. So for those of you that have already volunteered to help out in the background with the online gathering, I really appreciate it. And to those that volunteered to speak, I am very genuinely grateful. And I'm sorry we have to do this, but Other things have to go first for me at the moment. So that Superwoman cape, you'll get a message when it gets repaired and when it's back being a bit more stable. To that end, we do have some focus groups that we have been talking about, and at the moment we're not going to put them as meetings into the diary. So if you are part of one of those focus groups, because you've asked to be, you should have an email in your inbox. If you could reply back to Nikki just to answer some of the questions that we put in the email, that would be great. So for now, they're not going to be online meetings, but they are going to be in existence and help bring people together on these particular subject matters. I've touched on previous cafes, and I know some of you here in the audience have also been affected by the visitor levy consultations, and I'm afraid some of the polls have just come up on your screen. Please do fill them out, because it is a funding necessity. So please just fill that in, and then it will disappear off your screen. So as I was saying, there's various consultations taking place, and if you're not familiar with the visitor levy, this is where various local authorities are looking at utilising a government bill from last year to introduce what would otherwise be known as a tax on visitors coming to the area. And you might think, how does that bear any resemblance to me in transport? Well, it is all about what that money would be used for, and also about exclusions for people that wouldn't necessarily have to pay the visitor tax levy. So for example, if your ferry was cancelled and you had to use accommodation, or you need to go and use health facilities in a different area and you have to use accommodation. So I know Stirling is out at the moment for consultation and just about finished. Argyll and Bute have just finished their consultation, as have the Highlands. So please, if you're in an area or you visit areas, have a look at this, because transport genuinely has not really been on their radar as much as it should have been, and we need to make sure that it is. On the matter of rail, I want to thank John Carr, who's here, and John Yellowlees. If John Carr is there, he might want to just unmute himself for 2 minutes, because he kindly got involved in a conversation and a call instead of myself going. John, are you there? I can't see you. Unmute yourself if you're there. No, I thought I saw him come in. Sorry. Basically, the Railway Innovation Group is looking at cross-border routes at the moment and wanted some input. So John Carr and John Yellowlees have done that, and there's going to be some reports coming out that will be going, I believe, towards Westminster, but I'm not 100% certain of the output of that. But I will share it with you in due course. So that's all from me. I'm going to hand over to Piotr, who you really want to speak to and hear from, rather than me rambling on all the time. Suffice to say, what we were involved with was looking at the end user within this project, which is only a small fraction of it. And we produced this report, which Piotr has, giving some insights into drivers' experiences, because we ran an online workshop with different providers, businesses, organisations and users, and across the northeast of England. So I am going to stop wittering on, and I am going to let Piotr take on. Piotr, where are you? I've lost you on my screen. Don't unmute yourself. I think you might be muted.
Okay, that should work
now
now,
I can hear
hopefully.
you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, everyone. Well, really good to meet you all, and thank you very much for joining. Yeah, so let me just introduce myself briefly. So I've been driving EVs for quite a few years now, about 5 years, and kind of initially inspired by really well, in the early days was just inspired by how I think there was a lot of resistance to sort of wider adoption of EVs. Yet some people were kind of showing that basically you could drive an EV, you could operate it. So kind of inspired by that, I managed to get an EV and just started taking it out on trips. And during these trips, kind of realized that actually those stops, there's like, you kind of have to think about them significantly differently than how you think about petrol stops, because, well, first of all, it's a completely different experience, where at petrol stop, you kind of have a set experience, or someone guarantees a certain level of experience. There's like an attendant, there's a little shop always. So you kind of know what to expect, and there's someone there. Whereas that's not really the case with EV charging stops. A lot of these charging stations, there's no one nearby. You're kind of by yourself, and they're not really linked to particular locations such as petrol stations. They are all across various types of places. And so that actually, well, first of all, you kind of have a little bit of an adventure, especially a little bit earlier, where you kind of arrive at a station and not always the experience is what you expected. It can be quite fun, and you spend more time there as well. So you kind of discover the local area. So from that perspective, um, I thought it could be an opportunity, that there could be an opportunity to sort of combine these charging stops with something else, with perhaps visiting local amenities or actually combining the stop with whatever the user wants. So that's kind of how we started. And now more recently, what we realized also is that I think a lot of people just enjoy visiting the local businesses near the chargers. It's certainly something which I enjoyed. You always get these, or often get these very memorable experiences, like places you would never visit. You have the opportunity to visit during those charging stops. So essentially, that's what we really set out to do as part of this project, is really try to understand how we can connect EV drivers with those local businesses to provide memorable experiences to drivers and, well, to also support the local community. So Jenny, can I share my presentation now, or would you like
Yes, you
to
can. Yep.
discuss? Okay, perfect.
And I didn't ask if anybody has cake, but I'm lazy today. I've only got biscuits. So I'm afraid I'm eating biscuits, Piotr, rather than cake while you're talking.
That's absolutely fine. And if anyone has any questions, then absolutely please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them.
This did work. We did practice sharing the screen beforehand, so hopefully it will come up shortly.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, I might need to just share my desktop. Try that.
Can't see anything yet.
Yeah, the issue is that the browser window, for some reason, that's not coming up. I just want to specifically share the browser window, but that's fine. Let me share my desktop and see if you guys can see anything. Just gonna. All right. All right. So just let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see your desktop. I can see all your coding. I can't see the PowerPoint.
Good.
Yep.
So it should be here. It should be here.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So basically, this was a collaborative project. So it was a collaborative project with the SRITC, with a company called The Flow, which basically looks at traffic flows, so they can review traffic flows, and us. And essentially, well, it was funded, of course, by Innovate UK. So essentially, our goal was to really try to sort of design and test an app to connect EV drivers with the local businesses during charging stops. And the focus, we had a particular focus, which was the northeast actually of England. So our focus was in particular around the Durham area. And like our goal was to, well, first of all, make the charging stop for the EV driver more enjoyable, make it easier for them to have a nice experience to combine charging with other activities, and then also to help boost the local economies, to effectively connect drivers with the local businesses. So from the driver perspective, just to sort of provide a little bit of a recap, like they would be able to visit local cafes, they would have a nice time at the area where they stop in. It would feel like less maybe foreign to them. They'd feel maybe more confident in the area. And that actually came all up during the workshop, the need for that. From the local business perspective, of course, they would have more clients, more visiting clients, more EV drivers visiting, and well, effectively helping increasing the revenue, but also potentially having more local people sort of visit those businesses if their offer could be presented in an enticing way, which would help ensure that even people who live locally would be inclined to sort of review what's happening, and just to sort of even remind local people that those businesses are nearby, and to kind of get them to also enjoy them more often. So basically, just coming to the almost like conclusions. So what we did, yeah, we managed to complete a functional prototype where we've integrated a number of local businesses and EV stations nearby as well. So there's this sort of combination of local businesses and EV charging stations. We've done some real world testing of this. And with the SRITC, or the SRITC, they've conducted stakeholder interviews as well to sort of just gain insight about the needs of EV drivers, about their current experience, so that we could feed that back into this app. And with the flow, we've conducted traffic and economic impact analysis just to sort of understand a little bit financially how this might work. Yeah, so in terms of actually the interviews with drivers, the business interviews, so the interviews with the business owners, I think what was actually quite interesting. So in terms of we went to a number of businesses which are near charge points just to sort of see their perspective on them, just to see if they, for example, have noticed EV drivers coming in, to see if they perhaps even market to them, because a lot of businesses actually in the north, they do actually market to particular groups like cyclists. So cycling is apparently quite popular in the area near Durham in the northeast of England. And many businesses actually have, apologies, many businesses actually have dedicated offers for cyclists. So apologies, today I'm at a school, so it can be a bit noisy. It will be a bit noisy for a while, for a few minutes. What else? So many of cafes near charge points, so they've observed EV drivers visiting. They've seen an increase in EV driver traffic. It's really quite encouraging. And some of them actually declared that they are ready to really support us, support this idea. They've been surprisingly supporting. So from that perspective, that was, well, quite in a way promising. In other areas, so what we found was basically like the independent businesses near larger charging hubs, they especially noticed the presence of EV drivers. And yeah, so that was the key conclusion. I think with smaller individuals charging stations, the presence of EV drivers was not noticed. Whereas if you had like 2 or more connectors, high-speed connectors, it was quite clear that the businesses have noticed that EV drivers were visiting and stopping for a charge nearby. All right, so yeah, and we're also looking at how to sort of best connect businesses. So kind of what we found really was that the key to supporting making like things like pre-orders, like a lot of independent businesses in that area, they didn't really support much digital technology. They support really ordering by phone, and surprisingly, that is quite popular apparently. But what else? A lot of them also have Facebook web pages. They use Facebook, so it's possible to obtain information via Facebook about their offer and kind of post them in the app. All right. Yeah, and just moving on to the conclusions from the workshop, which we did with drivers. So essentially, I think a lot of EV drivers are frustrated that it's still kind of complicated to activate stations. So there really focuses on integration and simplification. But one thing which kind of came up was this kind of focus on safety, where a lot of people are concerned about safety. They would like to sort of have its surroundings. They would like to have someone friendly nearby. So from that perspective, actually, the presence of local businesses, that might help if they know that there's a place where they can go, that they're not by themselves at the charge point for 20, 30 more minutes. Finally, regarding the traffic analysis, basically, we've conducted the traffic analysis around the number of locations near Durham. Yeah, basically what we found is that if we could actually increase the number of drivers who know about local businesses and who visit them by even like 5%, there could be a relatively large increase in revenue by the businesses in that particular area. So I think we made some assumptions, like an average person stopping would spend like about £10, and by having like just 5% of those drivers stopping at those locations, visit those local businesses, you could have, in some areas, have at least £500,000 increase in revenue by those businesses. So there is perhaps a point in kind of raising awareness of local businesses and making their offer more well known to both local sort of drivers, the people at the local area, and visiting drivers. Yeah, and finally, just next steps. I think essentially what we want to do, we want to make it easy, fun, and rewarding to support the local businesses. We want to sort of remove those barriers. A lot of people actually really love visiting local businesses, but it's just difficult to find them, and it's not clear how. So that's what we really want to focus on. And also, like, one thing which we noticed is that this idea of making this easy and fun, it resonates. So we've kind of almost more recently broadened the utility of the app to not only include the businesses near charge points, but also to show businesses, like local businesses anywhere. So that would increase our user group and also would make the whole app more universal. So yeah, so that's basically, in a nutshell, that's really it. We have a version which can be downloaded by anyone on Android. That's like the updated version, which has local businesses on it. It can be downloaded via our website. And yeah, we love to sort of connect. I would love to connect with anyone who is interested in this, or perhaps would like to sort of explore this further. We are testing, so this is a little bit of an experiment to see if we can get this stuff to work. So yeah, that's everything.